Hello, welcome to Above Deck, a below deck breakdown podcast. I'm Sarah Goldman, a photographer and former marine biologist living in Charleston, South Carolina. And with me is my college roommate and co-host, Kelly.
I'm Kelly Busby, former radio host and current volleyball mom, coming to you from my home studio in Columbus, Ohio. Together, we hosted the Socks with Sandals radio show on WFAL in Bowling Green, Ohio, and we are back again this week to discuss Below Deck and our love of all things Bravo.
Today we'll be discussing Below Deck Med Season 9, Episode 10, Regret Me Not.
Here's your recap. Captain Sandy gives the stews an ultimatum, and Aesha implements a new laundry system. Ellie overhears a song about her and Bree, and Joe thinks Gail is getting special treatment. The crew gets a day off at the Acropolis and a beach club. So Sarah, what'd you think?
I thought it was a solid episode.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that Bree and Ellie aren't going to be sharing a cabin anymore. This should have happened probably a while ago.
Yes. So much.
So when the episode begins, Captain Sandy is talking to Bree and Ellie in the wheelhouse, and Ellie starts getting tearful. And did this seem very performative to you? It did to me.
No, 100%. 100. And I honestly think I said, "Oh, Ellie," like out loud. What a mess.
Yeah, I can leave right now if I have to.
Okay. And you know, Bree was like giving her like the side eye. It was horrible.
Yeah, totally. Anyway. So Sandy asked them both, just get through this charter and we'll figure out this afterwards. Haven't we been saying this for several charters? Like, let's just get through this charter and we'll figure it out afterwards.
I feel like we've been saying it since like charter 2.
Yeah.
Maybe the first charter, but how do we think this is going to end?
I think one or both of them is going to go. I mean, it has to. Something's got to change.
Yeah.
So Jono admits that he doesn't have any training with baking or desserts. And I was thinking, Jono, we kind of figured that out from the deconstructed sponge cake that you served. The poop on a platter.
All I hope is he pulls off a decent dessert, and hopefully it is fully constructed.
So Sandy talks to Aesha, and I think Sandy really saw how much conflict there is between the two stews, and she tells Aesha the way it's going, she's going to have to let them both go, but she has to make sure she has other crew lined up, before that would happen.
Aesha said she feels like she's failing as a chief stew. Do you think so?
No, and in fact, Sandy on Watch What Happens Live said she didn't think there was anything else Aesha could have done at this point.
Yeah. What a weird position to be in.
Yeah. So Captain Sandy asks Aesha to have Bree and Ellie not share a cabin, just make that happen. And so Gail has to move in with Ellie and Bree with Aesha.
Did you catch Ellie saying she's tired of Bree's BS? And I'm not sure we're seeing everything, or maybe I'm just not seeing any. Are we missing something?
Yeah, I
don't know. Anyway,
I don't know. Yeah, I did not hear that. That's surprising. Okay. So tonight is the Grecian birthday dinner, and the guests look so pretty, and they are loving Jono's food.
Yes.
Nathan, Ian, and Joe are kind of helping set up for this slumber party, and Joe starts playing the piano, and he sings a song about his love triangle with Bree and Ellie. And he doesn't realize that she's in the room. And she pipes up, and then the song ends abruptly.
Much about awkward and uncomfortable. Like,
I know.
He totally put his foot in his mouth that time.
Yeah, I thought it was a funny song though. So the pillow and blanket fort do look really cool. Like, Ellie did a really good job on that.
I want to do this sometimes because things are always so much more fun in a fort.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So Colleen's birthday cake turned out lovely. It looked like it had edible glitter. Jono did a great job. Thank goodness this round of happy birthday was much better than the previous dirge that we heard on that other episode.
So much better. And we had edible glitter and no talk of poo.
Oh, yeah, that's a win. So the guests love the slumber party setup, but they do not like Ellie's porn star drinks. What is in a porn star drink?
Oh, yes. Okay, so I did a little GTS.
Okay.
you know what GTS is? Google
Google.
that
Oh, okay.
stuff,
Got it.
whatever.
Yeah.
So here's what I found. It's a passion fruit flavored cocktail, and it's made with vanilla vodka, Passoa. I know I'm butchering that, but it's a passion fruit flavored liqueur.
Okay.
Liquor from France. Passion fruit juice and lime juice. I'd try it. I'd probably drink about 1,000 of them.
That sounds good. I love passion fruit. In fact, we're growing passion fruit in our yard right now.
Well,
That's
they've got to be
delicious.
super happy right now with all the rain.
Yeah, they must be. Okay, the next day. One guest, Stacy, she's up really early for she wants a little morning jacuzzi action. And I think this would be how I would start my yacht day every day on the yacht.
Yeah.
In fact, this is what Kate and I did when we were in Sedona. We got in the jacuzzi every morning.
Oh, fun. What a wonderful, calm, happy way to start the day. I like it.
I love it. So the chief engineer tells Sandy that the deck crew did not close the jacuzzi valve and the boat has lost like a ton of hot water this morning, and he's fixing it. And Sandy lets Ian and Nathan know because she doesn't want to bring it up later, you know, at the tip meeting. And it turns out Gail is to blame. Like, she's the one that opened it and I guess didn't close it, but Nathan was there and he decides he's going to take the blame for it. And Captain Sandy says, get it together on deck. You know, this is charter 5 or 6, whatever we're on. And Sandy really blames Ian's leadership for this problem. And so Nathan tells Gail what happened, and she immediately goes and tells Captain Sandy that it was her that left it open. She's very nervous. She's getting teary. This was very sweet, actually. And Sandy appreciates that she took accountability.
I think it was pretty strong of her to do that. And that can be scary, approaching your boss's boss to take accountability for a mistake that you had. But I think Gail's going to go far in her yachting career.
Yeah, I think so.
How?
So Joe is annoyed that Nathan took the blame for Gail, and he thinks that she's being treated like a princess and not like a deckhand.
So Joe said, you know, she's not your girl yet. Which, fair enough, that makes sense. But what do you think about Nathan taking the blame?
I think it was fine because he was there, and you know, you check behind people and make sure things are done. So I think he probably would have done it no matter, like, if it was Joe or whoever, don't you think?
I do too, because he was, of the people who were there, he was the one standing right there next to Sandy. So, you know,
right.
And he should know too which valves to turn and what things to do. So
right, they should all know this, right?
Yeah.
So, and also he was the one that was asked to like deal with the jacuzzi that morning too.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Anyway, the guests depart and the crew starts turning the boat around, and there's some tension between Gail and Joe. And you know, if you think about it, this is another love triangle. Gail is getting between Joe and Nathan's bromance. So I think that's where this is kind of stemming from, really.
That's a good point.
So Bree asks Aesha not to let Ellie do the laundry. And Aesha says she can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, it's not personal. Like, if Ellie has some free time and you're down, like, she's got to be able to flip laundry.
She was really sincere in her request.
Yeah, she was.
But in the same respect, Aesha was too. It's just a yuck situation for everybody.
Yeah. Okay, the tip meeting. They're going to have a day off for the crew. And they're going to go to the Acropolis and then follow that up with a beach club.
Do you think Aesha was excited a little bit?
Just a little. So the tip is $21K, very nice. And now we have a night out. Ellie decides to stay in. I think this was so smart.
Oh yeah.
I mean, really they all needed to, but I think this was good for everybody.
Yeah.
So in the vans, Joe tells everyone about the song that he sang. I loved Aisha's response. And did you notice that the restaurant that they go to is called Hams and Clams? Okay.
This night out had so much awkwardness.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, and I know it was all editing, but you could almost like cut it with a knife kind of night.
Yeah. But at the same time, there wasn't quite as much drama because I think Ellie stayed in too.
Good point.
So Bree and Aesha have a very sweet moment at the table. Aesha gives her the advice not to let her lows show if she wants to work in yachting.
Yeah.
And I thought it was funny how Bree was like, "Oh, can you tell?"
Oh my gosh.
Like, yeah. And then in her green screen, she says Bree would be good, well, at least a passable stew if she could figure out the laundry situation.
I love Aesha when she has her big sister moments with her with the crew and stuff. Can she be my big sister? Even though I'm, well older than her, but can she be my big sister?
I know. I do love that. Joe and Gail discuss why he was being fruffy with her on the boat earlier, and it seems like they kind of work it out.
Joe seems to be striking out with all of the ladies right now.
He's really putting his foot in his mouth in many ways.
Yeah.
The next day, Bree and Ellie discuss Joe's song and how, it kind of was not nice for either of them.
Right.
So maybe this is good. They'll form a bond over not liking Joe.
What is happening? Like the tables, they're turning. Like this is really weird.
There's nothing like bonding people like a common enemy.
That's right.
So Aesha is reading historical facts about the Acropolis while they're looking at it. It was built in 420 BC.
Guys, that was effing ages ago.
It was like a long time ago.
Long time ago.
So after this, they head to the beach club, and at lunch, Ellie brings up this song and how she felt very disrespected by Joe, and he does apologize.
That's good.
Yeah, so that's done. Okay, beach time. Everyone has a great time. No drama. Good time overall.
What a beautiful, beautiful place they got to spend their day.
Yeah, it looked very fun. The next day, the boat is going to leave the dock early and the guests are going to get tendered out, I think, because the wind is picking up. So Sandy wants to get out of there.
Yeah, that's nice.
We have a preference sheet meeting. It's going to be a shorter charter. Mahisha, do you think that's how we say her name?
I think so.
She is a Dallas socialite, and her husband, John, will be joining her and some friends. And one thing they want for sure is they want the food to rival a Michelin star restaurant. No pressure.
Yikes.
Okay. So Bree and Gail switch cabins, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but Sandy is missing a shirt.
Oh, no. What could have happened?
Aesha asks Ellie to only wash rags, napkins, and towels and things like that. And then Aesha can see like where the problem really lies.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Bree or is it Ellie messing Bree up? I think this is smart.
Yeah.
And she does warn Bree that if the mistakes continue, she will consider letting her go.
So what was the deal with Ellie coming in after Aesha had already talked to her and explained everything to her? And then Aisha's talking to Bree, and then she comes in like, so what are we doing? And she goes, I've already talked to you about it. Which I just want to say, mind your business. Like,
yeah, don't interrupt. Like, get out of here. Yeah, that was weird.
Sarah, can we talk about the mid-season trailer?
Let's.
It shows Ellie packing. Do we think she gets fired?
This is interesting because it could just be the packing, on the last day, like they're all leaving to go home.
Yeah. Or even just changing cabins.
Right. Or that. So, and also the way Sandy said, like, I'm going to bring in another stew, it could just mean that they're getting a fourth stew.
That's true.
It may not mean that somebody's getting fired. So
that's true.
I don't know. I suspect one of them's going to get fired. At least one. Don't you think?
Yeah. Well, but then they continue to show Bree.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it looks like they're both going to be around at least one more charter. So
yeah. So we do have a new stew joining, and it looks like Joe's going to go after her too. So hey, why not?
1, 2, 3,
and then they get a torrential downpour, kind of like what you're experiencing. And the crew cabin is going to be leaking. So
yeah, I guess probably the one that has been leaking this whole time, right?
Yeah. Oh.
So anyway, yeah, it looks good. It looks exciting.
I'm excited.
It's time for our segment, Acting Like Aesha, where we attempt to say an Aesha quote like the Kiwi Queen herself.
All right. Do you want me to? I'll play for you first.
Okay, yeah, you go first.
I want to go look at old shit, and then I want to go tan.
Okay. I want to go look at old shit, and then I want to go tan.
Love it.
Okay.
So
I'm
good.
going to play one for you now.
Europe's oldest capital city. I didn't know that.
Okay. Europe's Europe's oldest capital city. I didn't know that. I couldn't. I was trying.
That was good. I didn't know that.
Didn't know that.
That was good. Okay.
Well, it's time for Hot Tub Convo, where we discuss what's happening with our favorite Below Deck cast members.
So Sandy and Aesha were on Watch What Happens Live last week, virtually. Yep. Sandy was in Paris for the Olympics still.
Yes.
And Aesha was in Melbourne promoting her new alcoholic coconut water called Drop.
Yeah.
Sandy said that Ian was disrespectful to her from the jump, from the get-go. And she said, just keep watching. They will have a conversation later on. So,
dun, dun, dun.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
She did, in the preview, she did say, like, that's a fireable offense or whatever. So,
yeah.
It'll be interesting. Gosh. I mean, we need someone to get fired. There have been a lot of chances for some of these people.
Yeah.
So Andy played a game called Air Their Dirty Laundry, where he asked Sandy to say one thing about each crew member that they need to improve on.
Yeah.
And or two that were interesting. So she said for Ian, she said attitude. Duh. And for Jono, she said his cooking. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, you should have seen Andy's face. He was like, Later, she did say that she's never had a chef so calm. So
yeah,
she does like him as a person, but she obviously doesn't think he's quite up to par with some of the other chefs they've had. One thing about Ellie, she said Ellie needs to improve on talking out of both sides of her mouth and being more kind.
Yeah.
So Aesha said Bree was more fun on the crew nights out, and Ellie just took photos of herself. That kind of matches up with what we know about her Instagram.
Yeah.
So Sandy revealed that she recently reconnected with Hannah and met her family, and she said Hannah is a great person, and there were some misunderstandings between them. And Andy asked, well, how did that come about? And she basically asked Nadine to reach out to Hannah, and Hannah said she'd love to see Sandy. Aww. And so they had a great talk, and she said it was really healing. So this is great.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like one of the big fights and like disagreements in Below Deck history.
Yeah.
Hannah, like what happened to Hannah, Sandy firing Hannah. So
yeah.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad to hear this.
Oh, that's just great news. Love it.
I know. So neither Sandy nor Aesha think that Ellie hid shirts or like messed around with the laundry intentionally.
Intentionally.
So that's interesting. So
I like that keyword there.
Yeah.
We have a listener comment at Valhedum writes, they don't have 4 stews because they have one room with a leak and they don't have a room to add any more staff, which makes sense. Didn't even think about that.
I know. I totally forgot about that too.
Yeah.
So that really stinks.
Huh.
So we got an email from Matthew last week. He writes, have y'all thought about the fact that Ellie does not seem to gel with the crew? She has conversations, yes, but they are all about herself. Bree has interactions with almost everyone. Her negative conversations are out of desperation and self-doubt. Ellie is just there for the cameras. Well, this is kind of a good point. And I've definitely gotten the vibe from other crew members when they go on Watch What Happens Live or whatnot, that they really don't care for Ellie, or they're definitely on Bree's team.
Yeah.
So that is kind of true. She doesn't really have like a buddy.
Yeah.
So, and that
does
make
Ian.
me sad for her.
She can hang out with Ian.
That didn't go well for Ian.
No.
Also, someone pointed out that Aesha putting Bree in her cabin speaks volumes.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. I think I would have done the same thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So here's what we know about the new stew that will be arriving.
Mm-hmm.
Her name is Carrie O'Neill. She's from Glasgow, Scotland, has 10 years of experience. She's also an adrenaline junkie, loves snowboarding and horseback riding. Wow.
Okay.
That's fun.
This is gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
Gotta find her on the socials and start following her.
Yes.
Okay. It's time for our segment, Join Me in the Wheelhouse, where we decide who needs to see Captain Sandy for a stern talking to. Kelly, who do you pick?
No. I mean, I know he was trying to be funny, but at the same time, now I'm thinking about it, maybe I don't know. I think Joe.
Yeah, okay, we'll go with him. I don't know that we've called him up yet, maybe, so. Well, that's it for this week's episode of Above Deck. Thank you to our team at Hurrdat Media, especially our awesome producer, Grace. Please subscribe on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to tell a friend, and please rate and review us 5 stars only.
Please follow us on Instagram at Above Deck Pod, and you can email us at abovedeckpod@gmail.com. And you can watch our episodes on the Hurrdat Media YouTube channel. Until next time, I'm Kelly Busby.
And I'm Sarah Goldman. We'll see you next week.